And the government is being criticized for being reactive.
If you don't know the law, seek the people around you who advise you to tell you about the law. It's not a requirement that everybody is a lawyer, but seek proper counsel before you go and do things and before you step on the highest platform in the land and make utterances that you can't take back properly.
Greetings. I'm in London, but I've been following closely the events concerning the demolition of people's homes in Clifton, St. Catherine, and I want to give you an update of what took place today. This afternoon, a team from the People's National Party, led by one of our vice presidents, Mayor Norman Scott, visited the residents of Clifton. Other members of the team were MP Fitz Jackson, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, Isaac Buchanan, and councillors Lawrence, Harris, Benjamin, Rose, Wint, Preddy, Garrix, Burke, and councillor candidate Chambers. Our team were warmly greeted and welcomed by the residents, and the discussion centered on the demolition of their homes, the impact on their lives, and how we can respond to their plight. Our councillors will come together to assist the residents with a contribution of funding towards their legal fees to seek full compensation. An attorney, Isaac Buchanan, will be assisting in legal representation on their behalf. The women's movement, led by Patricia Duncan Sutherland, is sourcing counseling services for the residents, many of whom are traumatized by this callous and wanton act by the government against vulnerable citizens who it ought to be protecting. We also intend to take other action against the government's egregious practice of evicting people and destroying their homes without due process and without providing suitable alternate accommodation and compensation for their lost investment. Time come.
Mr. Fitz Jackson, you had that, and you remained deafeningly silent while your party leader put his 2 feet in his mouth, your party spokesperson put her 2 in her mouth, and the other one, Buchanan, put his 2 feet in his mouth and embarrassed themselves. So I want to ask you this morning, Mr. Jackson, don't you speak to your leader, the opposition leader and the party leader, Mark Golding? Did he not call you and say, well, Fitz, this is developing. What is happening here? Tell me. We need to make a statement on it. We need to take a position on it. You tell me. You guide us. Yeah, that is politics 101. Yeah, politics 101. Now this morning, having heard the Prime Minister, Mr. Jackson, yesterday, yes, can you square that with what the opposition leader said on the weekend? Yeah? He intends to take, says the PNP intends to take other action on behalf of the residents. In addition, the women's movement will be seeking counseling services for the residents. Which resident? Which resident? Nobody wasn't evicted. Huh? Nobody wasn't evicted. So which resident you're going to provide counseling and legal services for? Well, politics of this is, doesn't Fitz Jackson speak with Mark Golding? They don't speak. Do they? This could have saved another own goal by Marky G.
It cannot be that children are made to be punished for where they live. For certainly, children also occupied the houses that were demolished. Was there sufficient notification given? Did the administration exercise all available options? How can it sit well with us in a modern democracy to see women, mothers, and others literally terrified at the sight of their homes being demolished? No, nobody wants to have a situation where a majority of Jamaicans are described as squatters. And also, nobody wants to support a system where hoodlums and others sell land to vulnerable persons and don't have the authority to sell same lands. But the punishment must be to those persons that seized and sold the lands that did not belong to them. And arrangements can be made for those who are twice now victims of the initial scam and victims of the heartless way in which their homes were demolished and they were removed from their homes. Did the children affected choose the families into which they were born? Did the children affected choose to construct the houses in which they lived? Am I to believe that there was no other route the administration could take?
We didn't remove any houses from the reserved area or incomplete structures. So this lie being circulated that people were evicted. No one was evicted. No one. We were very careful and we made sure to stay well within what was legally required and permissible. So we didn't destroy any complete structures. We didn't destroy any structure that anyone was visibly occupying. We didn't throw out anybody's furniture.
Our information is that unoccupied, unfinished homes were to be demolished today. Again, there are homes that are occupied that are not the subject of this process. There are homes that are not occupied, but they are near completion. They are not the subject of this process either. But the details of that, you'd have to speak to the relevant authorities.
Imagine our state being afraid to act in the face of a gang. This new dimension of a criminal gang purportedly selling government property, your property, and for which the public officers are afraid to act. That's a whole new dimension. That says so many things. And whatever else you want to say about, not giving, poor people land or just allowing people to stay, whatever else you want to say about that, on the matter of criminals driving fear into our state, every single Jamaican must stand up against that. Every Jamaican. There must be no ambivalence, no double speak. It is wrong. And if it is only one man that will stand up and say it is wrong, I will be that one man. As I said, we removed 10 incomplete structures in the agricultural area. One we did not destroy because it could be that somebody was occupying it. We couldn't tell. We don't know. Someone could claim that that's really where we live. So that structure stands, and that, Madam Speaker, the person who is claiming to be the owner of that structure should come to the SCG. Talk with us, explain to us how you came by it, and we will work something out. Right? We'll work it out, but be prepared to make a statement to the authorities, meaning to the police.